Anika of grade 9 and today I am going to do a seminar on the topic metals and non-metals. We will be knowing what are the physical and what are the chemical properties of both metals and non-metals. Let me just give an introduction to this topic. In our surroundings, any material you see, it will be made up of either metal or a non-metal. If we will talk about metals and non-metals, we will see that the physical and the chemical properties of both it will be totally different. And when we will understand the physical and the chemical properties of both, it will be very easy to identify whether the particular material is made up of metal or a non-metal. First of all, let us know what are metals and non-metals. Metals are the materials which have the characteristics of being hard, fusible, shiny, malleable, ductile and etc. And examples of these are gold, copper, aluminium and etc. Let us understand about non-metals. So non-metals have the direct opposite characteristics of metals. It means like they are not hard, they are not shiny, they are not fusible, they are not malleable, they are not ductile and so on. Examples are oxygen, carbon and sulfur. Let us understand the physical properties of metals and non-metals. So first point we will get here is conductivity. Most probably the metals are good conductors of heat and electricity, which means that they allow the electricity to pass and also produces heat. Like whereas the non-metals, they are bad conductors or poor conductors of heat and electricity, which means that they are not produce heat or pass electricity through it. Ductility, metals such as aluminium and copper are very ductile. You may get a question, what is the meaning of ductile? It means that we can convert the particular thing into wires, or it is possible to convert the particular thing into wires. Non-metals are more brittle, so it cannot be converted into thin wires, and when we will try to convert it, probably may break. Next comes hardness. So except sodium and potassium, all the metals you see in our surroundings, it is made up of very hard surface, very hard texture. So we will take knife and try to cut sodium and potassium. It will be very easily cutted. Non-metals are comparatively soft when compared to metal. Next comes luster. Mostly all the metals have the shining property, and which means they are lustrous. So you can see the gold and silver jewelries in your home, they probably shine very brightly. And non-metals doesn't have the texture of being shiny and lustrous. Next comes malleability. Metals such as silver and aluminium, they can be converted into thin sheets. So this property means malleability. When we will try to do this with non-metals, it is not possible. Next comes physical state. So the metals are all of solid in the room temperature except mercury and gallium. They both will be in liquid even if they are in room temperature. In case of non-metals, they can be seen in all the three states. It means they can be in solid, they can be in liquid, or they can also be in gaseous form. Next comes sonorous. So the metals will produce ringing sound. So this property is known as sonorous. In your home, you can see any of the metal utensils, and if you bang, it will produce the ringing or the vibrating sound. This is the property of sonorous. Non-metals does not seem to be the sonorous. They will not produce any type of vibrating or ringing sound. Examples of metals are iron, copper, aluminium, calcium, magnesium, and non-metals are sulfur, carbon, oxygen and phosphorus. Now let us understand the property of malleability, ductility, sonorous and conductivity in the form of image. So in the first image you can see that there was a type of metal and it was beaten up and converted into a thin sheets. So this is the property of malleability. And in second picture you can see that there was a copper metal and it was converted into copper wire. And conductor, any material that allows electric current to pass through it, they are known as conductor. Examples you can see here: copper, aluminium, steel. And sonorous, in temples you can observe like this type of instrument. It is made up of either like iron or any type of metal, and when it is played you can observe the vibrating or the ringing sound around. Let us understand the chemical properties of metal. So metal combine with oxygen to form metal oxides. So whenever the metals react with oxygen, so metal oxides are formed. By the following reaction, let us understand it better. So here we have 2Cu plus O2. O2 means oxygen, and when O2 is reacted with 2Cu, 2CuO is formed. So here 2CuO is metal oxide. And most metal oxides are soluble in water. If the metal oxides are soluble, they form alkali. Most of the metal oxides are insoluble, which means they will not meet water. And when the metal oxides are seem to be soluble, they form alkali. In this equation you can see the reaction. Sodium, potassium react very easily with oxygen, so they are kept in immersed in kerosene. So sodium, potassium are kept in kerosene because they react very vigorously with oxygen. And if you will not store in kerosene, what will happen? We will have a question. So here is the first pic, and you can see that sodium and potassium are said to be free, and they are reacting with the atmospheric oxygen, and you can see the blast. So in the second pic you can observe how they are storing sodium and potassium in kerosene. Reactions of metals with water. Metals produce metal oxide plus hydrogen on reaction with water. When metal and water meets, it produces metal oxide plus hydrogen. If these metal oxides are seem to be soluble, they form metal hydroxide. When metals are seem to be soluble with oxygen, they form alkali. The magnesium will not react with cold water, but if you try to react it with steam or hot water, it will definitely react. And few examples which will suit for this is also aluminium, zinc and iron. They also will not react with cold water, but with steam and hot water they will react. You can see the reaction below. Reactions of metals with acids. So if you will take any metal and put it with if you put it with acid, it will form metal salt plus hydrogen. For example, here we have a beaker and acid is poured to it, and metal rod is put into the acid, and when it is put it, you can see that hydrogen gas bubbles are formed. Let us see the reaction of non-metals with acids. We will talk about reaction of non-metals with acids. Metal reacts with bases and they form hydrogen gas, and non-metals does not react with bases. Next, let us see the usage of metals and non-metals. In first pic you can see silver spoon, nail, coin and etc. They all are made up of metals, and you can see it in your home also, like nail, silver spoon and coins. And in second pic you can see rubber band, match, book and etc. So here they all are made up of non-metals. So metals are used in machinery, automobiles, trains, aeroplanes, bikes and etc. It is also used in cooking utensils and water boilers. It is used in industrial gadgets. It is also used in satellites. So non-metals also have several usage. Let us see it. It is essential for life. As we know, oxygen is very essential for our life and it is a non-metal. It is used in fertilizers. It is used to purify water. It is also used in wounds, antiseptic cream to apply it on the wounds. It is used in firecrackers. Let us see the reactions, types of reactions. Displacement reaction. In this reaction, a more reactive metal, it displaces the less reactive metal. So by the example, let us understand it better. So here we have AB plus C. So here let us assume that B is less reactive than C. When they both are reacted, we can see AC plus B. Here B is separated from A and C is placed in the place of B. So, copper sulfate plus zinc. As we know that zinc is more reactive than copper, it forms zinc sulfate plus copper. So this is the seminar video of metals and non-metals. Thank you.